Welcome to the U.S. latest news channel. Watch the video to the end to find out the current and breaking news about the Russian war in Ukraine. New information about the Russia-Ukraine war, which has been constantly broadcast with new developments by global news channels and delivered to millions of people, has now begun to have a big impact on social media platforms. At this point, some people found Russia's position correct, while others stated that a massacre was officially carried out on the basis of Russia. This situation has been decisively discussed among social media users in our country. Social media was almost shaken by the attack on a bridge in Crimea, which was carried out by Ukraine recently. Later, people who saw the increasing severity of Russia's attacks also stated that this is a threat to the world, while both sides should now lay down their weapons. At this point, many people condemned Russia on social media, while others said that it was necessary to retaliate and that Russia could not remain unanswered against these attacks. For this reason, millions of social media users are now standing behind the opinion they support and are beginning to wonder about new developments from the Russia-Ukraine war. While we continue to talk about the mutual attacks made by Ukraine and Russia on social media now, many people are also wondering where our country is taking part in this war. For this reason, many people were now waiting for new steps to be taken by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. At this point, presidential spokesman Ibrahim Kalin, who recently gave an interview on a channel, stated that Turkey will play a mediating role in the war, stating that President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Astana. Kalin, who said that his diploma is very necessary at such times, reminded that he will help Turkey lay down arms on both sides. Moldova has officially lashed out at Russia, saying that many Russian missiles that hit Ukraine passed through its own country. The Moldovan side stated that this is an absolutely unacceptable situation and it should end as soon as possible, calling on the ambassador of Moscow to explain. Moldovan Foreign Minister Nicu Popescu, his statement also, this morning 3 cruise missiles launched from Russian ships in the Black Sea to Ukraine crossed Moldovan airspace, he said. Continuing his words, the minister stated that they are waiting for a logical explanation. I have instructed the Russian ambassador to be summoned to make a statement. Said. Referring to the missile and rocket attacks that are the cause of civilian deaths in many cities of Ukraine, including the capital, Popescu said that this cruel and inhumane attitude must end. Accusing Russia of a murderous attitude towards civilians, the Moldovan minister noted that something must be done about it immediately, otherwise many more civilians will die. Moldova is a country that was in the Soviet Union in the past, but today has a pro-Western government. Russia is a country that has clearly stated that it finds the Ukrainian side justified in the Ukrainian war, both through social media and the press, as well as through open sessions, votes and negotiations on the international diploma stage. Even the Moldovan Foreign Minister Popescu made his reaction clear on this issue, saying that he strongly condemns the attacks. Moldova reacted not only to the attacks on Ukraine and the loss of civilian lives. At the same time, he showed a great reaction to the Russian side for violating their airspace. He immediately reported his anger, saying, "Put an end to this." A statement on the issue also came from Moldovan President Maia Sandu. Moldovan President Maia Sandu, stating that the Russian missiles hitting the cities of Ukraine violated Moldova's airspace. We demand that our borders be respected, he said. Sandu, at a press conference in the capital Chisinau, made statements on current issues. Noting that Russia is carrying out attacks on civilians in Ukraine, Sandu said, "The bombing and killing of innocent people is a crime that we strongly condemn. War it is his fault," he said. Stressing that Russian missiles violated Moldova's airspace, Sandu said, "Some missiles crossed our airspace without permission yesterday." Moldova, its republic, is a peace-loving country that respects the territorial integrity and sovereignty of other countries. We have said this many times, and we have proven it with execution. Therefore, we demand that our borders be respected, he said. The German Foreign Ministry announced in a statement that several buildings, including the German embassy building, were decimated in this attack on the Ukrainian capital Kyiv. The German Foreign Ministry has already said that for quite a long time this building has not been serviced in any way, adding that the building was closed for use not so long ago. Some people and groups found this statement by the German Foreign Ministry to be very inadequate and insincere. One of those who thought this way was Sergei Sumleny, the former president of the Bull Foundation in Kyiv. Sergei Sumleny posted a photo on his social media account, saying, "The building where the visa office of the German embassy in Kyiv is located was hit by Russians today." Does Olaf Scholz and Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock have a reaction? Maybe they would like to send some Leopard tanks and check the situation on the spot, he said. But there was no return to this harsh attitude of Sergei Sumleny from the German authorities in any way. German officials and Prime Minister Annalena Baerbock have maintained silence. 21. The Ukrainian-Russian war, which has been touted as one of the most important problems of the century, has now started to become much more violent due to the occupation and annexation of some regions of Ukraine. With the missile attacks of Russia and the bridge bombing incident from Ukraine, the risks in global terms had started to increase. At this point, Zelensky continues to make new statements and consider Russia responsible for major attacks. At this point, Ukrainian President Zelensky adds that the reprisals will continue on an ongoing basis. Here are all the curious details of those stunning statements that Zelensky said against Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who constantly makes new statements against the attacks on his country, left everyone's mouth open with the words he said recently. Zelensky took Russian forces to the target of the attack, which neutralized electricity distribution facilities throughout the country and led to the death of at least 8 civilians in Kyiv. Ukraine's President Zelensky, Russia to Kyiv, the capital of the country's energy infrastructure at different points of his attacks more deadly missile and drone attacks targeting civilians and end the lives of civilians when it is announced on November. One of the attacks that have been going on throughout Ukraine for months had taken place recently and caused the loss of 8 civilian lives throughout Kyiv. At this point, after the attack, eyes returned to Russian President Vladimir Putin, while the fact that the attack occurred after the explosion on the Kerch Bridge, an important transport hub in Russia, also raised a question mark. As the explosion in Kyiv occurred only a day after the attack on the Kerch Bridge, Volodymyr Zelensky stated that the explosion was carried out by Russia by targeting the country's energy units and civilians. Now millions of people are looking forward to new statements on the subject by Vladimir Putin. Volodymyr Zelensky, who said that he condemns the attacks on his country at every opportunity, also made statements about the missile attacks carried out in Kyiv in recent days. Zelensky, who also published some of his statements on his social media account, stressed that their work is very difficult and that Russia also has different goals other than the Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said, "This war we are going through really very difficult for us. I can almost say that we are dealing with many terrorists. Dozens of missile attacks are being carried out, and many of our people, unfortunately, are losing their lives. Russian forces have 2 goals. One of them is civilians, and another is energy facilities, which are known as the lifeblood of the country," he used his statements. Now, after the attack on the Kerch Bridge in Russia on Saturday, millions of people were also beginning to wonder about the new attitude that Russia will take towards Ukraine. At this point, Zelensky noted that dozens of missile and drone strikes have been carried out in many regions of the country, and Russia wants to take revenge by harming civilians and power plants. In addition, Zelensky noted that a children's park located in the center of Kyiv was also bombed, and a very large criterion was opened in the park due to the attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who said that the related attack is the greatest proof that Russia is targeting civilians, also condemned the attack on the children's park. In addition to all this, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that in addition to missile strikes in Kyiv and Lviv, the Dnipro, Vinnytsia, and Ivano-Frankivsk regions were bombed, as well as the Zaporizhia region in the south and the Kharkiv and Sumy regions in the east. Millions of people are now looking forward to how Russia will respond to the accusations made by Zelensky. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to be informed of the developments at the speed of light.